perniagaan. Janganlah having only I want to do business. I want to build a brand. Don't do business sahaja, because conceptnya you want to make perniagaan for short-term money saja. Don't have this kind of concept. Think big. Think big. I want to build my own brand. But what is your brand concept? Positioning. Apa yang tak sama? The differentiation. Very important. That your target audience want. That is very important. Then these are the research you have to do. Why they want to buy a Malaysian designers baju ke, Muslimah ke, apa-apa. Kasut juga, mana-mana. Fashion kan? So what is so special that I want to order from you? Then you can get any part of the world. I think this is the good thing of the era sekarang compared to my time. I think that is so different. So everything is, you have to reach there. So I traveled 7-8 months around the world. I spent hundreds of thousands for tickets saja. Exhibition lagi mahal pada millions. One book will cost me, how much. So those were the days. But I survived. Persevere.
Alright, thank you very much, Dato'. Perseverance. Usaha tu kena ada. Tepuklah. Usaha tu kena ada. So penjenamaan tu penting. Maksudnya you punya appearance tu kena selalu ada. Dato' travel a lot because in the 90s pasal tu internet tak ada, TikTok tak ada, Facebook pun tak ada. But now you have the internet, you ada peluang. Sebab tu macam apa Cik Leslie kata, every day I am online. Kenapa? So that you can expand the brand not only in Malaysia but out of Malaysia as well. So Encik Khairul, apakah bentuk sokongan? That means let's look at the on the government side punya perspektif kan, sokongan atau platform yang boleh dimanfaatkan oleh graduan dan usaha muda untuk mengembangkan perniagaan dari Malaysia ke peringkat antarabangsa.
Okey. Bila kita menyebut berkenaan dengan peluang ataupun opportunity yang boleh diberikan daripada sektor kerajaan, especially di bawah Kraftangan Malaysia. Untuk makluman, bidang fashion ni memang Kraftangan memang dah get involved daripada era 90-an lagi. Tapi kita tak bawa Kraftangan logo ataupun brand Kraftangan itu sebagai komersial. Sebab itu adalah agensi kerajaan di mana kami facilitate usahawan-usahawan ataupun komuniti yang ada capable untuk membuat brand dia sendiri macam yang Datuk maklumkan tadi, untuk dia bangkit untuk mencari peluang. Okay? Kalau untuk dalam platform ini, pihak kami dah melakukan banyak kolaborasi daripada mereka-mereka dalam dan luar negara untuk kita nak membuka peluang kepada komuniti ataupun masyarakat yang berminat untuk mencubakan diri dalam bidang craft sebagai platform untuk fashion dan mencari satu brand. Maknanya dia menggunakan craft tekstil Malaysia ni untuk dijadikan sebagai dia punya medium. Fashion itu mungkin daripada dia punya aktiviti ataupun brand yang dia nak bawa. Cumanya apa yang boleh saya sampaikan dekat sini, apa itu peluang yang boleh especially Kraftangan bantu, especially daripada bakal-bakal graduan ataupun student-student yang akan menceburkan diri dalam bidang yang sebenar, mungkin dalam tempoh setahun ataupun 2 tahun yang akan datang. Maknanya dia punya cabaran tu tak ada, macam yang Datuk maklum, yang Mr. Leslie maklumkan tadi tu, waktu dari segi kemudahan teknologi tu mungkin kita boleh simpan. Tapi apa yang perlu sekarang saya lihat adalah minat dengan motivasi. Dari segi peluang daripada kerajaan ni memang dah banyak. Kalau saya nak sebut daripada apa yang diberikan oleh Kraftangan, contohnya kalau di sini pelajar-pelajar dah tahu menghasilkan pola untuk fashion, pola untuk baju macam mana, tapi fabric dia macam mana? Adakah saya mungkin apa yang saya tahu di sini, kebanyakan mereka fashion ni dia menggunakan fabric yang sedia di pasaran untuk membuat brand dia sendiri, brand pakaian. Tapi ada juga opportunity kepada para pelajar yang akan mencubakan diri dalam bidang perniagaan fashion ni. Dia nak buat dia punya own fabric. Contohnya dia nak menggunakan yang paling mudah kita nampak batik lah. Kalau songket tu dia kena spend a lot modal untuk buat, dan timing dia pun makan masa at least sebulan ke 2 bulan untuk dapatkan one piece dari dia cutting to the fashion. Jadi kita tak faham pun, kita nak tengok dia beli modal untuk songket pun 3-4 ribu, lepas tu nak potong, nak tambah lagi, dia belum lah dia punya harga dia kan. Unless dia memang buat untuk yang bespoke, yang memang berharga bias. Kalau kita bercerita tentang batik ni, memang kalau batik daripada dulu memang kita nampak dia punya kesukaran ataupun renyah je lah menggunakan lilin untuk dia ada area yang dia nak buat batik. Tapi lately ni pihak kami dah menghasilkan satu bentuk proses menghasilkan batik yang tanpa ada satu ruang yang cukup besar. Contohnya iaitu kita panggil batik yang menggunakan bahan tanah liat ataupun bahan starch linen. Jadi dekat situ hanya satu ruang mungkin sebesar dalam 10x10 kaki saja di rumah. Sebab proses di situ mungkin ada di antara mereka fashion di sana pun diorang mungkin berimpikan bagaimana nak menggunakan material yang dia punya own design ataupun corak di sini. Mungkin dia punya label dia sendiri, logo di sini dia come up dengan corak. Daripada situ pihak kami especially Kraftangan boleh ajar bagaimana menghasilkan batik sendiri dengan kos yang paling minimum. And then the rest untuk fashion itu terpulang kepada pihak student untuk macam mana dia nak create dia punya produk, untuk create dia punya market. Okay. Sebagai contoh, pihak kami pernah berkolaborasi dengan mereka British Zandra Rhodes 2016 years back. Jadi kat situ kita try produk batik kita untuk pasaran Eropah. Tapi macam yang Datuk maklum, kalau kita nak be visible untuk international level ni at least 3 years ataupun 3 kali lah. Tapi kalau kata sekali, lepas tu next year orang datang tengok tak ada, kita kena go to zero back lah. Jadi itu memang kita sebut lah dengan Datuk, dengan Mr. Resi punya survival. Jadi produk ataupun peluang yang diberikan tu memang adalah, dan cumanya macam yang saya maksudkan tadi, dia punya vision dengan motivation. Kalau ada tu aspek tersebut, ya kami especially di Kraftangan kita sedia untuk bantu, dan kita boleh accommodate ataupun facilitate bagaimana produk ataupun tekstil yang nak dibawa untuk dalam fashion. Bukan sahaja tekstil, mungkin aksesoris. Kadang-kadang mereka fashion ni dia hanya focusing on dia punya attire, baju saja kan. Tapi untuk dia punya aksesori tu mungkin dia ambil another brand to collaborate. Dan mungkin dia nak fokus on aksesori sahaja ataupun dia nak combine, itu pun pihak Kraf kita adalah. Maknanya dia kalau ada di sini yang berminat, kita akan matchkan dia dengan usahawan-usahawan yang sudah ada. Jadi dia kat situ secara tak langsung menghasilkan yang akan berkembang.
Terima kasih Cik Khairul. Bantuan daripada kerajaan, especially Kraftangan, I rasa it's not limited lah. To industry players atau yang upcoming, Kraf membantu banyak. And also I think kerajaan initiative itself sekarang nak membantu ekonomi kreatif. So we came up with ekonomi jingga sekarang kan. We have a board for ekonomi jingga yang membantu what we call industry creative. So bolehlah Google nanti baca Okay, now let's transit to entrepreneurship. Why I want to emphasize on entrepreneurship is sekarang yang depan kita ni semua Gen Z. Gen Z memang suka jadi entrepreneur. Dulu sekarang generation different kan. Bila dia tengah belajar tu dia dah fikir nak jadi macam mana saya nak jadi seorang peniaga atau entrepreneur? Dia dulu kalau 20 years ago, kita orang fikir lepas graduate nak kerja apa ni? Tapi Gen Z, kita sekolah lagi, want to become an entrepreneur. But you need to get the advice of all the experts in front here. So, Datuk, you are the most experienced entrepreneur here. Let's hear it from you first. Okay, Datuk, pada pandangan Datuk, adakah lebih baik untuk bekerja dahulu dan mendapatkan pengalaman atau terus memulakan perniagaan? What is your advice on this? Because nowadays a lot of Gen Z just want to jump into, but there are also one perspective that says that no, you need to get the experience first. So from the most experienced entrepreneur, we want to hear your perspective on this. What will your advice be?
I think experience is key. The more experience you have, the less problem you will face in your life, in your career life. Gen Z, janganlah ingat I want success sekarang juga. So this is the young people, young populations are like that. I want to success. Success is not a wrong thing, but it takes time to go. This is something which you have to endure. Endurance, perseverance, and I want to talk about the failure is always the success of the mother of success, but I think I'm sure you know. But then again, build a brand. Janganlah have a short term of I want to make money sahaja. That is called to a business is a short term, not a long term mindset. Mindset is very important. Why English kata mindset? What is bahasa Malaysia mindset? Cara pemikiran, which means what you think, your mindset, and you follow through, you will do one. Kalau you ingat, this is per se, you minum. Kalau you ingat, tak per se, you tak akan minumkan. So this is actually our mind's work. So set your mind correctly from the very day one. Mindset. You set it correctly. I give myself a 5 years break or a 3 years experience, exposure to learn from this guru, and that guru. Any field you want, whether it's art, whether it's a baju ke, hidung ke, whatever Muslimah ke, do it. Learn. Be humble. Very, very important. Janganlah ingat, this is not my work, this is not my work, then you are dreamer sahaja. So Nike selalu kata, just do it. So just do it. You have to, especially the first few years after your graduation, like Leslie kata, make sure you finish your school first. This is the foundation. This is the very important basic foundation you must have, and follow a guru that you think they are good, more mentor better. Then work hard. Success is in front. Never have a shortcut. More experience, the better. Learn from the best. Kalau you ada selection, other choice, learn from the best. I'm very lucky. I continue for 3 years, 0, 4th year I break through, 5th year I met Jimmy Choo. I asked Jimmy Choo to launch my brand in 1997. So immediately Jimmy brought my brand to the next level again. Although I have already, you see, the first 3 years is 0, the 4th year 2 countries. The 5th year, I have to close my door, preventing customer coming to my store. In Germany, in Hong Kong, I have to close my shop. You wait outside. For the first 3 years, kosong. Crying and crying because no branding, nobody knows you, no credibility, no trust. But the moment you earn trust, people will come in. I export from 000 to 40 over countries around the world. I opened my shop in, can you imagine, Egypt. I opened my shop in Egypt. Yeah, Pakistan juga, India juga. Of course, in Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and many more countries. So, once you earn the trust, but this is called perseverance, not short term. Young people don't think short term. Think a brand, build a brand, build a brand. Build your own identity. A branding, your identity, your differentiations, what's so unique in you, that's your brand. Bukan satu jenama saja, bukan jenama saja. Okay? I think that is short.
Alright, thank you very much, Dato'. Now, I think this question will be best answered by Cik Leslie. So, Cik Leslie, apakah kesilapan yang sering dilakukan oleh usahawan muda dalam industri fashion? And we need your advice on that as well. What is the kesilapan and the advice so that we don't do the kesilapan anymore?
Like Dato' said, failure is the mother of success, right? So kesilapan tu, of course you want to minimize your problems or your mistakes, but kesilapan besar, I think you learn from it. For me, is you don't look at it as a problem, but you look at it as how you're going to settle this issue, because it comes every day. Kita ada kesilapan yang kita buat, tapi how do you settle this? You have to have the mindset, be able to settle the situation, to settle the problem. So kesilapan besar, I don't see things as kesilapan. I see things as a situation that needs to be corrected. Okay? So, if for example, I use my own example. I kita buka kedai di Bangsa. Okay, Bangsa is tempat yang orang have, right? So you rasa customer nak beli dekat Bangsa, tapi salah. Customer tak nak beli baju dekat Bangsa. Kita buka 2 butik di Bangsa. Bukan sekali je buat mistake, 2 kali buat mistake. Okay, so kita buka butik tu, rental is berapa, renovation berapa, stock berapa. 2 kali saya buat mistake tu. Okay, so I do not see it as a mistake. I see it as my college fees lah. Belajar lah untuk bayar pendidikan. So I learn from there. It's not just because you open a boutique, it will be successful. So you have to do your research. Adakah tempat ni sesuai untuk brand saya? Kan? So, and then like Dato' said, also I agree, have a mentor, have somebody yang you respect and boleh you belajar daripada orang tu. Okay, nothing is on your own. You cannot do it on your own. Okay, you mesti ada orang yang you perlu look up to. Carikan mentor yang successful lah. Saya jawab soalan Cik Leslie.
Okay, thank you very much, Cik Leslie, for sharing. One good thing Cik Leslie kata, you paid the college fee. I hope you understand what you said. That means kesilapan tu cost a lot of money. So sharing ni, I harap all the pelajar-pelajar ambil nota sebab they have spent a lot of money to go through the experience, to share the experience with us, so that in future all the other students tak akan buat kesilapan yang sama. So Cik Khairul, Cik Khairul, dalam Malaysia mempunyai kekuatan dalam batik, songket dan warisan budaya, like what you have mentioned just now kan. Bagaimana elemen-elemen ini boleh dijadikan kelebihan untuk bersaing di pasaran global sebagai seorang usahawan? Because we want to touch on the entrepreneurship punya perspektif.
Okay. Kalau kita lihat dari segi batik, songket ataupun craft tekstil Malaysia ni, kita nampak kat situ dia carry the identity, especially on pattern, motif ataupun corak. Itu yang memberikan satu keunikan Okay, itu yang memberi satu, bagi saya, advantage lah ya. Kalau kata kita nak market to the international level, bagi saya kekuatan di situ, maknanya kalau di sini student ataupun sesiapa yang mendengar kita punya forum ni, dia boleh pilih ataupun create their own identity untuk dipilih ya, especially on motif ataupun the special technique macam yang Vicky sebutkan pada awal tadi. Jafika dia stick daripada permulaan dia punya build the business until now, dia pegang hanya satu teknik saja. Dia tak ada buat benda lain macam-macam ya. Maknanya dia nak kekalkan dia punya perjalanan dia, jadi untuk orang tahu dia punya keberadaan, dia punya specialty dia kekal pada satu brand, satu produk dia ataupun level produk dia ya. Jadi dia ada setengah orang ni kita tengok bila dia dah sukses on this year, the next year tu dia nak masuk another benda pula supaya orang nampak the varieties of dia punya brand. Itu mungkin dia punya strategi dan mungkin successful ataupun mungkin dia having something yang perlu dia dikembalikan. Tapi pada yang sebagai contoh Jafika tu daripada dulu memang itu dah. Jadi sampai sekarang mana-mana pemasaran dia punya klien daripada overseas macam yang dimaksudkan daripada US, daripada Sri Lanka, daripada mana-mana, Indonesia, Sepanyol. Jadi dia faham itu adalah one of the batik Malaysia yang boleh carry the identity, and then orang di luar sana proud to pakai. Jadi mungkin orang akan faham batik Malaysia, dia beli dengan Jafika sebagai contoh, itu adalah batik Malaysia. Tapi sebenarnya batik Malaysia ni varieties macam-macam ya. Itu kita baru sebut dari segi batik, belum kita sebut dari segi tekstil yang lain macam tenun, macam songket, lagi bermacam-macam lagi. Jadi bila kita bawa di dalam satu platform yang mana ada di negara-negara ASEAN kita, jiran-jiran kita akan nampak satu kebersamaan di situ. Tapi daripada situ pun adalah satu cabaran bagaimana kita nak melihat keunikan yang berbezanya dari segi produk yang dibawakan itu ya. Jadi dekat situ bagi saya kita kena create satu identity lah ya. Contohnya macam ada one of the entrepreneur club di Kelantan, dia gunakan satu motif saja sampai lagi dia sampailah dia punya market tu besar di luar negara ataupun di dalam negara. Jadi orang tengok saja dia punya motif dia, orang nak kenal ini brand. Jadi bagi saya kena create dia motif and then go kepada kaedah pengeluaran untuk sustain dia harga, and then kita kena study dia punya material punya cost ya. Sebab sekarang pun kita tak menentu ya, cost yang contohnya kalau buat batik tu punya kain putih dia ya. Kadang kalau kita nak compare 10 years back tu memang quite, I think 50% dia dah up yang sekarang sebab tak menentu. Jadi dekat situ pun kita dah tak boleh nak main dia punya cost yang to be fixed untuk 10 years akan datang. Sebab sekarang global punya isu krisis ni kita tak menentu. Tapi bagi saya bila dah ada satu brand ataupun identity, itu senang untuk kita bawa. Bagaimana proses dengan platform macam mana tu kita kena skill.
Okey, terima kasih Cik Khairul. Saya harap pelanggan-pelanggan dapat all the tips from here. Untuk jadi seorang entrepreneur, usahawan, it's not difficult, it's also not easy. Dia ada balance dia. It's not difficult, it's also not easy. Sebab I will just add on something. Sebab kadang-kadang kita belajar subjek lain. Mungkin kita belajar design. Usahawan ni is another topic sebenarnya. So kadang-kadang kita tak belajar dari usahawan. So that's how Cik Leslie kata I had to pay my college fee. So sometimes usahawan ni through experience. So walaupun daripada pihak kerajaan dah lay out, okay, these are the opportunity, kita pun try and error juga. Everything actually cost money. Penjenamaan cost money in the 90s. Penjenamaan is costing a lot of money. Now maybe a little bit easier sebab of the social media. Tapi I harap pelajar akan list down all these things, the pro and cons, how it was in the 90s, how it was 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, and then you can make your comparison. So we still have time, so I'm going to go to one last part of our discussion is the career path. So mungkin kadang-kadang you tertanya-tanya kan, oh lepas kalau I jadi habis grad ni, I boleh jadi periker fashion sahaja ke? Tapi dari tadi dia talking about branding. So actually there is other peluang pekerjaan juga in the fashion industry. So I will soalan ini first. Alright, Dato'. So, of course ramai pelajar masih beranggapan bahawa industri fashion hanya tertumpu kepada menjadi sebagai seorang periker fashion. Alright. So, sejauh manakah luasnya industri ini dan apakah peluang-peluang kejayaan lain yang mungkin yang belum diketahui oleh generasi muda and also belum tap into lagi? What are all the other opportunities other than just being a fashion designer?
Persepsi dia in fashion jadi designer. Betul kan? That's actually the general thinking sahaja. But in the fashion is a very broad. To me, is the whole ecosystem. So you can be a strategist, you can be a developer, R&D, you can research, you can do a lot of design, the creativity. Everything has to be there. And you have to be branding as well. You have to learn even using AI now. Without that, also you cannot. So you have to go beyond that. You have to think more than that. Saja you want to be a designer. Designer is just a foundation of fashion. Glamour also we are talking about, you know. But again, the styling of your own style is very important. If you want to be successful, your own identity. We have talked so much about identity, right? Yeah, everyone is talking about identity, about you yourself differentiated. Why? If you are talking about Bhakti or whatever, Malaysian identity, you have to be very different. You have to be really confident that why your target audience want to buy you. Because there's so many other textile that is so beautiful as well. So you really have to be creative. Yesterday, can you imagine? Yesterday, sahaja, I had a very good Zoom call with my Japan shoemaker. And today I want to share a little bit to you why they call me for shoot in Japan. By the way, I used to have office in Japan. I also export shoe to Japan to some of the very expensive stores. But why they look at me on terompa? You know terompa? Wooden clock. Because recently I launched my KL Green Fashion. What is KL Green Fashion mean? It's a green product. Can you imagine baju ini what kan dari oyster shell and plastic bottle? Please Google CSEAC wool. WOOL, sea wool. So this is made of sea wool. You know, siapa buy this material beside us? It's actually from Taiwan. You know Uniqlo? Yes, but they don't brand sea wool. They call Uniqlo Coat. Because this is very cooling one. And most of all, branding is very important. In the fashion world, trending is very important. Yeah? This is good. Yes, trending is so important. So ESG, environmental, SDG is sangat-sangat penting. Betul kan? Kalau baju batik sekarang using Cebu, okay lah. With your print, of course, identity print, but baju dia ESG tau. ESG certified tau. Okay lah. Dudungnya with your, because recently I use Malaysia oil palm terang, oil palm tree. Every year we burn sebab tak boleh pakai dulu. Tapi with the new technology, we managed to save all the oil palm terang. We have to cut down every year. You know, you guess how many pokok akan potongkan? Just a guess. Anyone? 30 million pokok cut down every year. And what do? Burn it. And every year, hottest season, we will complain Indonesia, bakaran, abu jiran, tapi we do that also. Both countries also burn because tak boleh pakai the wood. But now with that, we managed to save the tree to make for furniture, kasut juga. So the Japan want my oil palm trunk for the rope, and using their material, ESG material, then using creativity, cultural with Japanese style. Origami ga, yeah, it's going to be very, very creative. Again, this is called creative, differentiated, at the same time with very important purpose. So this is what we are doing. So as an entrepreneur, you have to think so differently and non-stop. I think the what you call the enthusiastic and never stop. Although by the way, I'm 70. I'm 70, but my heart is 30. I have to keep moving on. Right? This is how we think as a designer. I think with that, I pass on.
Alright, thank you very much, Dato'. So, apa yang anda belajar sebagai seorang designer? Kalau macam mana kalau dia tak ada kain macam mana? How am I going to do my design anymore? So, did you pick it up from here? Ada pokok pun you can do pakaian, you know? Ada pokok.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
I use banana leaf as my leather. Banana leaf. No, pineapple leaf. Pineapple leaf. Yes, I import pineapple leaf from Japan. Wood is Malaysia. Torompa is Malaysia. Upper is Taiwan. I make it into a ESG. Kasut, Torompa, dari Malaysia.
Yeah.
Style Malaysia, but ESG.
So it's all about creativity and finding for resources. There's also saris made from the banana pokok punya trunk. Saris kan mesti kita bertenun kan, but actually now because of the sustainability, there's also materials done like that. Okay, now Encik Leslie, to you. You see a lot of okay, you see now a lot of youngsters in the industry, they're very technical focused. Technical, menjahit, designing and all that. Tapi of course you have been in the working industry, then you have become the boss now. Is only the technical part is the only focus, or what are the other elements we are actually expecting from the graduates of the creative industry?
So, of course, the technical part is important because you need to know how to do it. Tapi yang penting pun bila you dah kerja, you bekerja dengan orang lain tau, bukan just your schoolmate. You kerja dengan industri, you kerja dengan boss you and rakan kerja you. So you mesti ada sikap, you mesti ada initiative, mesti ada toleransi dengan orang lain. You need to be able to adapt dengan, you are not always right because you dah belajar tapi orang lain pun dah belajar. So you must be open to these ideas, and you must be able to work together. So I see this as one of the, because in my office pun ada Gen Z, so but Gen Z jenis yang suka bersorangan, ya, introvert. Tapi dia ada idea, tapi cara dia nak sampaikan, these are the qualities that I look for as well. Somebody who has self-initiative. You know, you must be able to understand what your boss wants, what your customer wants. You need to find out all these, initiatives, and these are things that I look for in not just the technical part. You know, you need your education. That's the basic. But more than that, you must be able to work with people around you.
Alright, thank you very much, Leslie. Because you see, as from the creative industry, technical very important, like what Leslie said. Tapi dia ada ekosistem dia. So a lot of other things, the element yang sikit-sikit ni, it makes the ecosystem in the industry. So we have spoken about branding, if to go out of the country, you can ada PR skills sikit, nak buat sales, communication skills sikit, presentation skills sikit. So it is an ecosystem. So of course you have to focus on the technical side, but you have to also pay attention sikit lah on your ecosystem ni. Okay? Nanti kita akan check tidak lagi biar ekosistem saya tak sebab I want to open the floor for Q&A, I give a heads up first. Okay, I'm going to touch on the future of fashion dengan Encik Hairul. So Encik Hairul, dengan perkembangan AI, e-dagang dan teknologi digital, bagaimana Encik Hairul melihat masa depan industri fashion dalam tempoh 5 tahun atau 10 tahun, the future of the industry?
Okay, kalau pada kita tengok sekarang ni pun dah berbagai-bagai apps AI macam dulu kita nak buat slide presentation pun make it tunai ataupun 2-3 seminggu untuk buat. Sekarang masa kita tengah dengar forum pun boleh dah siap satu slide presentation using the easy apps lah. Okay, tapi to me apa yang saya tengok untuk industry fashion untuk coming 5 years, saya rasa lebih mencabar. Tapi apa yang saya nak sentuh dekat sini bukan grooming ni bukan hanya di Malaysia, malah satu dunia. Kita kena lalu satu orang kata bukan traffic lah ni, saya don't know nak kata apa. Memang satu dunia yang nak pergi tu apa yang special kita untuk orang lihat. Jadi tu yang kalau kita tengok sekarang, kalau mana-mana yang di dalam social media untuk melakukan dia punya produk tu, dia make something yang orang kata tak boleh nak terima, tapi orang kata tak boleh terima, tapi dalam masa sama dia tengok kan, dia tengok, jadi dia fikir itulah kaedah dia untuk sampaikan dia punya promote dia punya produk. Jadi bagi saya memang untuk industri fashion especially-nya memang boleh terus sustain. Cumanya apa empati ataupun bimbingan untuk orang lain tu, ini yang something yang lain special untuk orang lain. I think saya tak melalui perkara tersebut. Okay, jadi saya hanya melihat scroll, tapi kita nak tengok apa yang benda yang orang boleh at least orang boleh impact dekat dia punya fikiran walaupun dia tengok dia hanya scroll. Jadi orang boleh berhenti sekejap, orang boleh tengok. Ya, kadang-kadang untuk fashion ni macam yang kita bincangkan pada pagi ni, untuk the Malaysian identity yang the best lah untuk kita nampak. Mungkin kita tengok, mungkin ini adalah terlalu tradisional, mungkin orang dah tak tengok tradisional macam mana dia, orang dah tahu, orang tak kisah pun orang nak pakai, orang nak guna, orang nak apa trend yang boleh sesuai. Jadi dekat sini I think kita kena get back balik to the heritage lah. Mungkin kat situ ada value dia. Ada value dia yang boleh kita nak come out untuk kita selling the country, the identity, and then the country the same way dia akan selling dia punya brand. Jadi something lah, saya rasa kalau untuk teknologi itu yang the best part lah untuk kita look forward.
Terima kasih Encik Khairul. Bila zaman tak ada teknologi, different kind of challenges. Bila zaman yang banyak teknologi ni pun, different kind of challenges lah we face. Alright, panelists have done a very fair sharing, a lot of information given. I rasa you tak akan dapat platform ni in another avenue. So I rasa pelajar yang ada di depan ni have to use this opportunity to ask questions to the panelists before we do the closing. Alright? Are you ready? Can I take the first question? Angkat tangan tinggi-tinggi. Nanti kita pass the mic. Siapa nak tanya soalan? Alright. Introduce yourself. And then you can also say who you want to tunjukkan soalan tu. Adik-adik boleh mention nak tunjukkan soalan kepada siapa?
Good afternoon, I'm Fifi. My question is for Dr. Lee. How do we practice and maintain SDG in our work outcome as a student?
Yeah.
SDG is going to be a very big trend because of global warming kan. Dunia, our mother earth already sakit tu. We are in the way facing global warming, which will kill a lot of living inclusive human. Do you know that or not? If you want seriously looking into wanting to be the ESG, SDG direction, you have to first know why SDG. Why United Nations go into this? You have to understand very, very, very well compared to your peers, your other people. Then you can Google, you can find bukan sahaja sendiri yang develop. Because nowadays, technology is so available, information is so available, you can just find there's already something in other parts of the world. You don't need to research your own self. I mean, of course, you can do your own research, you can own doing or using our lalang to become baju or become dudung. That is very soft, very, very, like lalang and flying or whatever. I mean, as long as it is sustainable SDG material satisfied by the body, then you are already one step ahead of others in terms of ESG, SDG material or your collection. That storyline, this is also one thing I want to highlight to you. To build a brand bukan sahaja produk. Bukan sahaja produk. Product, there will be never short of product. There will never short of batik, I tell you. There will never short of dudung, there will never short of kasut in the market. Unlike maybe 40 years ago, but now they were never short of product. But they are short of story. Remember, storytelling. You know what content building is all about? Social media is all about? People want to follow, people want to hear what? Story. Authenticity story, the real story. The real story, but can be creative lah sometimes. Yeah, branding bukan saja you have good product. Who will tell you this bottle water not so good punya? Although they sell 50 cents or one ringgit, they will still say this is the best water in town. So don't say this is the best baju or best design. Never say best. What is your identity? What is your story behind? I mean, we are talking about building a brand. Sorry. Alright, so in short, you have to do a lot of research. What is SDG number 1? Don't just follow trend, but understand the trend, why and how to move going forward. I hope you get some point. Alright? 15? Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much, Datuk, for sharing. I hope you got the answer. He gave a lot of information there, you know. Also, we can also all together start recycling the bottle in the correct dustbin so that it goes to the proper channel to make the clothes there as well. Okay, now, can I invite the next pelajar to ask your question? Tolong introduce yourself and then tunjukkan soalan kepada satu adik, tidak lagi adik, lepas ni.
Hai, nama saya Taibah Maria. Terima kasih atas peluang yang diberikan. Saya nak tunjukkan soalan ini kepada Tuan Khairul. Apakah usaha yang dilakukan untuk menarik minat generasi muda terhadap seni kraft?
Okay, good question, terima kasih. Okay, untuk kita nak menarik semangat ataupun minat orang-orang muda, orang-orang yelah Gen Z especially untuk tentang craft ni pun challenge sebenarnya. Sebab to me, kalau kita pergi some forum, kita bercakap tentang perkataan craft tangan, I think nobody want, especially Gen Z, kan? Because diorang tahu craft tangan ni mungkin berada di museum ataupun galeri. Okay? Tapi the challenge is kita tukar dia punya naratif dia tu. Kita kepada macam kita nak menghebahkan pemakaian batik. Batik ni kita tak adalah bawa yang zaman real batik punya zaman 90s punya. Kita bawa batik yang boleh dipakai oleh golongan Gen Z, golongan muda. Okay? Sebagai contoh yang lain, kita bawa mereka ke dalam kita punya event. Ya, macam dalam forum ni kita jadikan dia sebagai part daripada speaker dan kita buatkan satu program yang khusus untuk mereka menghasilkan produk-produk ataupun dia bukannya kita nak, saya rasa dah tak sesuai lagi dah datang ke museum untuk mengenali apa itu tak ada dah. Mungkin dia punya tajuk tu pun kita tukar. Kita dah tak ada bermalam di museum pun tak ada dah. Kita mungkin big catchy yang untuk golongan muda dia nak dengar. Okay? Jadi itu yang pertama. Yang keduanya, kita buat produk untuk mereka, zaman mereka. Okay? Jadi daripada produk craft yang kita tahu untuk dia punya produk tu limited, kita expand dia punya penggunaan. Macam fashion kita dah tak buat lah baju mesti baju kemeja formal, tak, kita buat dengan pendek yang boleh pakai setiap masa. Okay? Dan sekarang alhamdulillah penerimaan dia makin lama makin berkembang. Dengan kita juga brand-brand yang lain yang membawa batik Malaysia ataupun perkataan batik untuk dipasarkan, untuk dipromosikan secara Gen Z. Contoh macam di sini, cara olahan dia mempromosikan itu berbeza. Dia tak ada pakai model-model dia tak gunakan Malaysian model, tak. Dia mungkin dia pakai overseas look lah, tapi tak tahulah dia punya rakaman tu mungkin di Malaysia, tapi dia punya model tu overseas look. Jadi kat situ kita nampak dia punya pemakaian dia tu secara tak langsung boleh memberi input dan minat kepada golongan remaja ataupun Gen Z untuk kenal dan faham apa itu produk kita lah, produk craft kita. Dan dalam masa sama pertanyaan dengan semua, kita ada Institut Kraft Negara juga, yang mana mereka adalah kami punya produk industri craft punya pewaris-pewaris. Jadi dekat situ pun bagaimana mereka menghasilkan produk, kita implement apa yang akan dihasilkan tu suit dengan zaman dan trend yang terkini. Jadi itu bagaimana kita nak memberi pemahaman dan minat mereka tentang produk especially yang berhubungan dengan okay?
Thank you very much, Cik Khairul. Gen Z janganlah kalau kita cakap pasal craft apa semua, let's say kita cakap pasal batik, jangan fikirkan batik. Sekarang ni batik can be made into extravaganza punya design and all that. Ada design. Kasut pun ada tau. Datuk ada kasut batik. Orang pakai pergi event and all that. So you have to think like that. And plus, kalau bukan kita yang memperkasakan kita punya warisan, who else is going to do it? You have to look at other countries yang die hard orang nak memperkasakan diorang punya warisan. So Malaysians, we have to think as Malaysian first. Okay, then? Alright. Now, we still have time. I can take one more question. Adik tadi, sorry, aku lupa. Dek, kenalkan diri dan juga soalan ditujukan kepada saya.
Yes. Okay, my name is Shafi. Okay. Okay, to our respected individual in front of me, okay, I want to ask to Mr. Leslie. Okay, I have learned about your backstory about your journey in this industry. So I want to ask how we as a younger generation to face the challenge in this industry. As we know, fashion is not just the design, jahit, hantar assignment, kita perlukan masa bulan-bulan. Jadi ada yang pelajar atau student yang tak boleh tahan dengan fashion, jadi dah keluar. Jadi sebagai orang yang pengalaman, saya nak tanya macam mana tuan boleh bertahan dalam industri ini. Dan satu question lagi untuk semua orang di hadapan saya. Saya nak tanya, untuk pendapat semua orang di hadapan saya ini, AI ni adalah satu ciptaan yang berguna ataupun tidak. Sebab selalunya student dia akan tanya, tolong buat design study, jadi design tu bukanlah satu design yang kreatif, dia ciptaan saja. Itu saja.
Okay, thanks for your questions. I'll answer the first one first before kalau I can lupa, so I can answer the first one first. The second question first, penggunaan AI kan. So pada penggunaannya saya tak okay lah dengan AI because you know, susah saya belajar craft, lepas tu AI can take over. But we cannot deny that AI will help us. So I think you have to find a middle ground. Your creativity and AI, you mix these two together and come up with the best. You know, it saves you time, but you must know your skill. You must know how to draw, like, you know, fashion design. You must need to know how to draw. Drafter, you must need to know how to draw. Because AI is what you put in. It's not a person, even though you think it's like you're talking to a person, kan? Tapi AI is it's based on algorithm on all the words. You know, so apa yang you prompt kat AI is apa yang masuk yang penting, kan? So AI itu penting, tapi you mesti tahu apa yang you nak tanya. And jawapan yang you dapat tak semestinya betul. So you kena you must betulkan. You must know how to correct this. Alright. I hope that answers your second question. The first question is
Experience menjalan. Your experience.
Oh my.
I mean like what your advice to us about your profession industry, like cabaran yang kita orang.
Alright. Okay. So what made me stay so long is because I have a dream, and the dream is I want to be somebody. This is something that I always wanted to do, and if I don't do it, then it's, you know, what's my worth here, right? So untuk cabaran tu seperti I kata lah, you akan ada cabaran, tapi you must be stronger than that. Okay, you must know what you want first. You know, is fashion designing what you really want? Yeah. And fashion designing is so vast, like for Vicky cakap, and it's not just fashion. You can be a stylist, you can be a merchandiser, you can be a buyer, there's so many things fashion can do. You can be a fashion journalist, you can be, you know, like Anna Wintour and all that. So many things you can do. So the important thing is what you want, and don't give up. Yeah. So that's my advice. Yeah.
Okay. Untuk yang AI ni, to me, I advise berikan dia adalah cadangan ataupun opinion yang keempat lah, ya, bukannya first opinion ataupun first, second and third. Jadikan dia keempat ataupun ke bawah. Sebab apa? Sebab ramai juga designer-designer yang kita lihat bila dia nak create prompt untuk AI create image, especially design. Kalau kita relatekan dengan craft, especially kalau kita tekan type batik, totally dia akan keluar batik yang daripada gantian. Ya? Sebab diorang masih lagi tak dapat the full data untuk diorang create apa yang kita nak waktu ini. Mungkin another 5 years, 10 years, dia punya permintaan sudah ada, dia dah ada big data kat situ. Mungkin bila kita type batik Malaysia on another 10 years mungkin dapat. Okay? Jadi dekat situ apa yang kita nampak, dia boleh membantu. Yes? Tapi yang macam Leslie bagi tahu, kita mengurangkan kita punya kemahiran. Ya? Bila kita berada di dalam industri kreatif, ya, tak kira lah theater, artikel, mana-mana. Bila kita dah di dalam ni, especially fashion designer, maknanya dah tentu kita punya kemahiran melukis, kemahiran berfikir itu penting. Okay? Yang last option, kadang-kadang AI ni kalau kita dah masa dah nak sempat, at least kita nak visitor view ataupun draft, itu mungkin boleh kita guna. Tapi kita perlu berhati-hatilah, berhati-hati sebab apa yang kita buat tu mungkin tak sampai lagi apa yang kita nak. Tapi the best part, kemahiran tu kalau kita ada jelas dan kita nampak apa yang kita punya kekuatan, itu boleh kita nak apply AI sebenarnya supaya kita sendiri boleh nilai apa result from the AI and then untuk kita bagi ataupun share. Itu my opinion.
Okay, for a man who went through so many years, so conventional from the very beginning, can you imagine this era? AI is not tomorrow, it's now. Right? Bukan. So you have to really accept it. This will be changed. But fashion will change. Technology will change. But one thing will not change is our own self. What I think this also is sustainability. Yes, these are the two things. That's why I embark on that. I'm developing with two universities. One is university UPM. Used to be Batanin, but now it's really Putra UPM. Another one is Hong Kong University, Science and Technology, on my AI project. So in the future, everything is algorithm, everything is talking about your data, then how many steps, how I walk, whether I pronated or supinated, my left is faster than right. How can I make it balanced? This is AI. This is AI, using AI to improve my leg. And how I can prevent myself from falling when I become 80s. Or some people even 60, they fall. So this is what I'm developing now. Well, that was 10 years ago. So what I'm trying to say, AI is technology to me. If you can use it, of course, this will be best. But not only talking about design, you just thinking and all the design here, you are copying others' idea. Because idea is shallow, it's actually very, very deep. And also another thing I feel in the future, it is all about collaboration. Using different kind of ecosystem collaborate together. And making your business differentiated and also have your different kind of identity. Just like I'm going to collaborate with Dato' Abdul Rahman, who's so talented, produced from Malaysia, from college vocational. He's a top student in vocational in 1970. 70! My God! In Sapakan. Yeah. So please collaborate. I'm going to collaborate. And also, I'm collaborating with my daughter, my second generation, Trisha Lee. Now she has actually run my business. But she also went through almost 10 years for internship. Learning. Now she lead already. Now she's the CEO of the company. This old man sitting down, just keep talking. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope that give you a little bit on what AI will bring us to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We have come to the end of the session. Alright? Baca-baca lapar tu? Sabar sekejap sikit je lagi. I pun lapar juga. Okay, so before I do my closing remark, just on the AI from my part, just a conclusion. Of course, we cannot run away from the technology, so we have to be updated. So, they are 50-50. When the technology is available, we have to make use of it, but we have to still keep our identity dan keberanian untuk mencipta peluang. Kepada para pelajar, saya berharap sesi hari ini membuka minda dan bahawa masa depan dalam industri fashion mempunyai kemungkinan yang boleh diterkai. Jangan takut untuk bermula dari bawah, jangan takut untuk mencuba dan jangan takut untuk bermimpi besar. Kerana seperti apa yang kita bincangkan hari ini, fashion is beyond borders. Dengan ini saya mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada semua panelis dan hadirin yang hadir yang berhormat.
What I think this also is sustainability. Yes, these are the two things. That's why I embark on that. I'm developing with two universities. One is university UPM. Used to be Pertanian, but now it's really Putra UPM. Another one is Hong Kong University. Science and Technology on my AI project. So in the future, everything is algorithm. Everything is talking about your data. Then how many steps, how I walk, whether I pronated or supinated. My left is faster than right. How can I make it balanced? This is AI. This is AI, using AI to improve my leg. And how I can prevent myself from falling when I become 80s. Or some people even 60, they fall. So this is what I'm developing now. What that was 10 years ago. So what I'm trying to say, AI is technology to me. If you can use it, of course, this will be best. But not only talking about design, you just think and all the design here, you are copying others' idea. Bukan saja shallow, it's actually very, very deep. And also another thing I feel in the future, it's all about collaboration. Using different kind of ecosystem, collaborate together. in making your business differentiated and also have your different kind of identity. Just like I'm going to collaborate with Dato' Abdul Rahman, who's so talented, produced from Malaysia, from college vocational. He's a top student in vocational in 1978. My God. In Sapak kan? Yeah. So please collaborate. I'm going to collaborate, and also I'm collaborating with my daughter, my second generation, Trisha Lee. Now she has actually run my business, but she also went through almost 10 years for internship, learning. Now she lead already. Now she's the CEO of the company. This old man sitting down, just keep talking. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope that give you a little bit on what AI will bring us to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dato'. We have come to the end of the session. Alright? Baca-baca lapar tu? Sabar sekejap sikit je lagi. I pun lapar juga. Okay, so before I do my closing remark, just on the AI from my part, just a conclusion. Of course, we cannot run away from the technology, you see? So we have to be updated. So they are 50-50. When the technology is available, we have to make use of it, but we have to still keep our identity. Macam kepada para pelajar, saya berharap sesi hari ini membuka minda dan bahawa masa depan dalam industri fashion mempunyai kemungkinan yang boleh diterkai. Jangan takut untuk bermula dari bawah, jangan takut untuk mencuba dan jangan takut untuk bermimpi besar. Kerana seperti apa yang kita bincangkan hari ini, fashion is beyond borders. Dengan ini saya mengucapkan setinggi-tinggi penghargaan kepada semua panelis dan hadirin yang hadir yang berhubung.
Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Miss Vicky Naim selaku moderator.